everyone, welcome to another beer review. Now we've got a bit of a different beer review, a beer that I know fairly well for lots of different reasons, and the beer we're going to do today is a Russian beer. This is Baltika Kula, which is a kind of a lighter, kind of pale kind of lager that they do. They brought this out, if I remember rightly, my glasses seem to be dirty again. They brought this out roughly about, it was either 2007, 2008. It would have been, telling a lie. Cooler came out in 2007. So it did, I'm telling you a lie. It did, 2007 it came out. The reason why I kind of remember it is because, well, there's two major things. First of all, I remember it was when I started to realise that beer wasn't really classed as kind of real alcohol in Russia, and their attitude towards beer isn't the same as it is in this country, whereas beer is alcohol, same as anything else. Whereas in Russia it's just a kind of a slightly stronger soft drink in some ways. Strange how the government view it for advertisement purposes, that you can't advertise beer until after 9 o'clock at night on television, but the licensing system is a lot different towards beer. It's a lot easier to get an alcohol license to sell beer than it is to sell spirits. But most kind of kiosks, there's loads of kind of kiosks in the streets of Moscow and all over in major cities, and yes, they'll sell lots of different beers and things like that. And I just remember as the cases though, we were waiting for a shuttle bus. One time it was about 10 o'clock in the morning, we'd been at a meeting, and a friend of mine says, well, it's just too hot. It was a really hot summer's day or summer's morning, and he's like, I'm going to nip in and get a drink before the bus comes. And yeah, he came out with a bottle of beer, and it was really hot because it can get quite hot in Russia. It's more of a kind of continental climate, and yeah, he was basically drinking a bottle of cooler, and I thought, well, when in Rome, so I went into the kiosk and got a bottle myself, and yeah, that was my kind of introduction to kind of how the Russians kind of view beer, and of course trying out cooler. Second time I came across cooler was on my wedding day. We were in Zach's at the time, and it was really hot that day again, and the air condition wasn't working, and it was an absolute sauna. It was an oven basically inside the kind of government building where you basically get married, and I had two best men. Now, the best man from Russia and the best man from Scotland. The thing was though, it's like once you've done all the kind of different form filling and all multiple signatures and documents, there's a kind of obviously a waiting period until you go into the kind of ceremony room where you will actually, get married. So we're kind of all standing down the stairs in the kind of main foyer, just trying to kind of find a cool spot. It was just ridiculous. And next minute, I hadn't seen my two best men for a while, because I was away upstairs at different kind of offices, signing different forms and producing different kind of documents to prove I am who I am and all this type of stuff. It's a bit more difficult because you're a foreigner, so of course you've got to have documents translated and everything else. But I came back down and I finally seen my two best men, who decided to bugger off and go and get themselves a couple of beers. And yeah, they were all nice and cool, drinking cooler. Didn't bring any for me though, anyway. Didn't bring any for me, and the only thing I had to basically drink was whiskey, which was a nice Grant's Solero, Grant's Glenfiddich Solero Reserve, which is a nice whiskey. Problem is, not in that temperature. It was probably the worst whiskey I've ever had. Not because it was a bad whiskey, it was just the situation and everything else. It was just not the time to be drinking anything like that. I mean, a bottle of water would be far better, but such is life. So I've tried cooler a few times. Also, you get it in a lime with a hint of lime with it as well, and things like that. So, Baltika is the kind of mainstream, one of the mainstream beers in Russia. I prefer drinking more of the kind of smaller brewery stuff, the more kind of localized, small batch stuff, because some of the stuff is really fabulous. But it's usually okay. I haven't had this stuff for how many years? At least 8, maybe 9 years. I haven't had a cooler. So what we'll do is we'll crack on to it. So as I said, it's a pale beer. I've got a Thread Piva, which is a light beer. Alcohol content, if I remember rightly, it's 4.7% alcohol by volume, and of course it's a 500 milliliter bottle. Now, you can actually get this in the UK. You can buy it from certain online stores and things like this, but you can obviously get it from Russia. So let's crack it open. As it comes with its own kind of ring pull type scenario, which is very popular. There we go. See, makes life easier. So let's get it out and see what it's like. Again, this is usually drunk from the bottle. I've never actually poured this into a glass before. And as you can see, it's quite a gassy beer. So it is. Smell. You're getting that kind of wheat smell you get with quite a lot of Russian beers. So you're getting wheat. You're getting grains. You get a hint of sweetness as well, just a very, very hint of sweetness. You know, like a baked pastry type scenario. You know, you get pastries, you know, so it's that type of thing. You can see it's very, very well carbonated. Not much of a head, but again, because it's a lighter beer, it won't be hopped that much as well, so it'll be very lightly hopped. Because the whole point of this is a swinging beer. This is a beer to basically kind of quench your thirst on a real hot day. This is what this is all about. So let's get cracked into it. Yeah, you're getting that kind of wheaty, kind of oaty kind of flavour at the start. In other words, a very, very kind of light malt. The malt is there, it's quite pronounced, but it's a light malt. So it's like a very kind of oaty biscuit type scenario. I don't like using the term biscuit, but yes, it's that kind of maltiness, but it's a light malt, it's not a heavy or a strong malt. You're getting that there. You're getting that kind of sweet kind of aftertaste. There's not anything bitter about it in any way, shape or form, which again tells you that there isn't many hops really used in that. It's very, very lightly hopped, and it's all to do with the malt and the grain basically. So yes, you're getting a kind of grainy flavour. It's very, very light. As you can see, it was quite carbonated, but the mouthfeel is quite nice. It's not a harsh carbonation in the mouth, so the mouthfeel is very nice, and it's very easy to drink. How does it compare to our mainstream kind of beers like Carling and Foster's? Well, to be totally honest, this is a better beer. But let's be totally honest, it wouldn't really be that difficult. It's not as if Foster's or Stella or Carling or even Budweiser are the pinnacle of beers, because they certainly are not. But even buying this just now in the UK, this works out roughly about, it's about 170, 180 a bottle to buy. So it is more expensive than some of these beers, because I think some of these beers are roughly about £1 a can basically in the UK. So it's a bit more, but it's a better beer. But this is the equivalent, if you were buying this in Russia, normally what would this cost? Bottle of this would probably cost you 80-90 pence, probably. So a big difference within the kind of price situation, but it's a nicer mouthfeel, more pleasant beer, more satisfying to drink. They don't have that kind of chemical taste or kind of false flavours that I feel that I get from a lot of the mainstream beers available in the UK. So yeah, what's the standard cooler? Now cooler isn't any of the premium beers from Baltika. It's and it's strange because Baltika beers are actually brewed by quite a few different breweries around Russia. And a lot of these breweries also make their own beers and also do their own local batch beers as well. And some of the beers that these breweries produce are absolutely fabulous, really good. In fact, I would say when people go on about, you know, the Czech Republic beers and things like that, well, I'd say some of the Russian beers are up there. I was actually quite surprised how many good Russian beers there are, especially the kind of local batch stuff. So these breweries that are kind of obviously licensed to make these type of beers for Baltika, because all different ones do it, they know how to brew, and it is obviously a better, in my view, a better produced product, these type of beers, than the mainstream. I'm not saying that these are better than, you know, the kind of more high-end, kind of traditionally brewed British beers, but for the kind of mainstream muck, it's probably the best way to describe it. These kind of cheap and cheerful Carling Fosters, this is actually better beer, even though it's supposed to be the same type of beer, because it is, it's the same type of beer, it's the kind of Russian equivalent of this. In fact, on a 4.7%, now we do have some other ones to try later on that I will review. Got a nice Russian porter, you know, it's like I wanted to get an imperial, Russian imperial stout, but it was sold out, but we will try and get that once it becomes available. But I do have a Russian porter, a good 7% too as well, a good traditional kind of Russian porter, which again, a lot of times with the premium beers, the alcohol content does go up, so this is a 7%. And I've also got a nice golden lager as well, a good premium golden lager, again from Baltika just now. Some of the other stuff that I wanted to get, unfortunately, was out of stock, like Starry Melnick and all that type of stuff, which is Old Windmill in English. But yeah, the whole idea is to kind of give you an idea, and of course you can actually get these in the UK. You can go online, I can give you, I'll probably leave in the link below the online store that I got these from. And I don't get any affiliation, I don't get anything like that type of stuff. I'm just basically passing on what I'm using to get hold of these beers, and if you want to try them yourself, you can use the same outlet. I get nothing for it. At the end of the day, it's just a case as though it gives people a chance to try different beers. Obviously I'm going to try and speak nice to the wife, and hopefully she'll bring back some special beers for me from Russia, so we can try some of them as well. But yeah, as you can see, it's completely flat, but again, usually when you're drinking at the bottle, you don't really pour it into a glass. But it's very easy to drink, very unoffensive, good for all manner of things, from sitting watching the football, barbecues, parties. Goes well with lots of different food, because again, it's just a very, very light beer. Along the lines of probably, like say, Corona or things like that, or Sol, but yeah, it's not a bad beer for what it is. It does it a lot better than others, and what would I give it? I would give it a 2.7 out of 5, because It's above average because it's an average beer, but it's a good average beer. It just does what it says. It doesn't try to pretend to be anything or anything special or try to make out it's something it's not. It's just a good, normal, well-priced beer. That, see, normally when you're drinking in the bottle, that type of stuff, you get a lot of that going on, you see, because you're sinking it through the small aperture. But yeah, unoffensive, very easy to drink. It's got the alcohol content, so if you're looking to get a buzz, it'll get you the buzz. And yeah, my view is it's a good, refreshing lager along the lines of a pale lager, and yeah, it's cold filtered, and my view is if you get a chance to try it, give it a go, and if you do, tell us what you think. So there we go. So that's the first review of the Russian beer, and it's good that we're kind of branching out from just the normal UK stuff. We'll obviously do a lot more UK stuff, but I wanted to kind of try some and bring some kind of Russian stuff because I had spent quite a lot of time drinking Russian beer over the years, and there's ones that I miss, like a Jakova Premium and things like this, and there's a lot of kind of good beer marks that people just don't know about, and it's a shame because they're damn good beers. In fact, they even make Kozel, which is a Czech beer. They actually make Kozel, a Russian kind of Kozel, brewed in Russia. And they do obviously a light or a thin Kozel, which is the kind of lager. But they also do a kind of darker, or in Russian they call it chomny, which is a dark beer, and that's really nice as well. That's quite malty and kind of really quite nice. And I've tried both. I've tried the original Czech Kozels and I've tried the Russian Kozels, and unlike the kind of beer that's made in license in the UK compared to the original stuff, this was spot on. This was really spot on. In fact, it was actually quite difficult to actually tell the difference. That's how good it was. The Russians are basically going to make things under license. Fair play to them. They do a damn good job. Unlike that San Miguel that I tasted, that kind of cerveza from Northampton, which is absolutely bloody dreadful. I have since then tasted San Miguel from Spain, and I will do a review on that later on, and it's night and day. So what they're selling over here is supposed to be San Miguel is a bloody disgrace. It's just a joke. It really is an absolute joke, and it's not doing any favours for the brand of San Miguel from Spain. So there you go. I think it's more about making the money than actually satisfying the customer. Whereas at least the Russians have managed to get that right. I mean, there's plenty of things that the Russians do get wrong, but they do take alcohol seriously, which is a good thing. But yeah, my view is give it a go. You might like it, you might not, but it's worth a try, and yeah, it's interesting. Take your taste buds on a journey, is my view. Yeah, that's us for this review. Thanks for watching. Cheers, and bye for now.